you are 59 and a half or younger, there are certain IRS codes that allow you to take the money out penalty-free. That if you are taking out a loan from your 401k plan, probably means you're under some financial duress. And the studies show that I want you to remember, as you benchmark yourself or compare yourself to your neighbor, everyone is different. And I want you to keep that in mind. So I'm going to share with you 5 mistakes that I think you should be aware of so that you make sure that you don't step on the same landmines others have. The first mistake, or landmine if you will, is leaving the 401k behind. In other words, when you go to a new job or you retire and you decide not to roll over the money and leave it with your old employer, if that's available to you, that could be a big mistake. Now, for many people who've worked with an organization for many years, they feel very comfortable there. They feel like the organization will take care of them. That's not the case with your retirement plan. Once you leave there, no one's looking out after your plan or going to call you with recommendations, or if the market goes up or down, what you should be doing to react to it. So make sure that once you do leave, either because it's a job-related situation or you're going into retirement, that you take that money with you, either rolling it into the new 401k or roll it into your own IRA. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the things to be aware of when you do roll it over. The second landmine to be aware of is when you roll the money over indirectly. Now, that's a financial jargon term, so let me define that for you. Typically, there is a direct rollover where one financial institution, in essence, moves the money to your new financial institution. In other words, you're working for a company, you roll it over into an IRA somewhere, and the check is made out to the new financial institution, what they call FBO, for the benefit of you. Check's not made out to you. You never really touch the money. The check could be electronically wired to your account or actually could be sent to you. One tip if you do that is don't endorse that check. It's not made out to you. You send it to your new financial institution. That's a direct rollover. An indirect rollover is very different and can cause problems. An indirect rollover is when, in essence, the old financial institution, typically, your retirement plan from the old organization, sends a check to you directly made out to you, where you would then deposit it in your bank account with the intent of moving it into an IRA within 60 days. Because if you don't do it within 60 days, you get penalized. However, oftentimes when the check is done in this way, where it's indirect, withholding can be taken from it. You can forget to roll it over within 60 days. Those are 2 big mistakes that could cost you a lot of money. There are 2 other considerations to be aware of. One, if you are 59 and a half or younger, there are certain IRS codes that allow you to take the money out penalty-free. You lose that option if you take the money in an indirect fashion. Just take the money and don't roll it over. The IRS does allow you to do one indirect rollover every 12 months. So my advice to you is, if it is at all possible, do the rollover in a direct fashion rather than indirect. Landmine number 3. Believe it or not, it's rolling over company stock. Now, for many of you who have been with some Fortune 500 organization and you've invested a lot of money into that corporate stock and it's hopefully done well, you may have options to take some of that money out in a tax advantaged way. It's called net unrealized appreciation. Again, another financial jargon. I don't want to go into it right now, but just be aware that there is a way to get some tax benefits on the corporate stock, but not after you roll it over. So be very careful if you do have a large amount in that 401k in the company stock and you think you may need some liquidity and you want to take advantage of tax benefits, consider the net unrealized appreciation. But again, you can't do it once you've rolled it over into the IRA. Clearly, there are a lot of different ways to do things to hold on to your money, to create your income stream in retirement. And that's why we created the Masterclass for you. So if you want to take a look at it, when we're done with the video today, come back and hit the Masterclass to make sure that you can view how to maximize your retirement income and avoid some of those common mistakes. So let's go on to the fourth landmine. And this landmine deals with the pre-tax and the after-tax portion of your 401k. Now, some people have an after-tax portion that is in the 401k that once you roll it all over into your new IRA, you lose the ability to take some of that after-tax money out in a tax-advantaged way. So let me share with you what you need to do. First, you call your old financial institution, the retirement plan provider, and find out, let's say you have $500,000 in the 401k. Let's say $450,000 is pre-tax and $50,000 is after-tax. You could do two different things. First, roll over the $450,000 into a traditional rollover IRA, and then move the $50,000 into a taxable account. And in that way, once you pull the money from the $50,000, you're not taxed on it like you would be if you were to take the money out of the IRA. So be very aware of the pre and the after-tax monies within your 401k so you don't pay more taxes than you should. Landmine number 5. I referenced it a little earlier. If you are younger than 59 and a half and are retiring and you wish to take income from the IRA, your new IRA that you rolled over from the 401k. If you do it before 59 and a half, typically you have to pay taxes on the money that you take out plus a 10% penalty. However, there is a certain IRS code called Section 72T. It allows you to avoid the 10% penalty. Don't want to get into the technicalities of it, but it is something that we've utilized with our clients before. And again, it's important. Again, if you need income before 59 and a half and you've retired, Section 72T is a good thing to take a look at to help to avoid some of those taxes. No, don't do it. Upwards of 35 to 38% of you who have 401k plans are taking loans out against them. Do you understand the impact that has on your future retirement and your ability to pursue that retirement you desire? In this video, I'm going to share with you a couple of times that maybe it's okay to take loans, but for the vast majority of you, I want to share with you the impact of taking a simple $5,000 loan would be on your retirement. But before we get there, subscribe to our channel. Hit the notifications bell so you're alerted to when we post new videos. So there was a recent study done by Ramsey Solutions that indicated those who had created wealth, and they defined that as $1 million, that the vast majority of them, closing in somewhere on the vicinity of 57 years old or thereabouts, had accumulated that wealth primarily through their employer's retirement plan, your 401k. So shouldn't we be managing this properly? So let's step back for a moment and at least understand the framework, the concept of what a retirement plan is, specifically a 401k plan. You have the ability on a systematic basis, each and every paycheck, to put money away. Sometimes your employer is matching it. Then you choose a particular investment setup for a long period of time for your retirement. It grows tax deferred. And the benefit is that if you don't touch it, it should be growing to put yourself in a position where you may be able to pursue those retirement dreams that you've been thinking about for years. Now, I want to talk to you about the really big benefit of having an employer retirement plan, and I want to frame it with a conversation about compound interest. Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. So let me share with you the story of two different people, one who started really early in life and put away $2,000 a year, and one started a little bit later, did the same $2,000 a year investing. Think about this in terms of your 401k plan, if you will. If you put in $166.67 every single month into the 401k, just think about that. And let's go to my screen for a moment. So on the left-hand side of the screen, we show, for example, one, and we're using a 20-year-old here who invests for 8 years, 8 years only. They put in $2,000 away every single year, and they invest $16,000. On the right-hand side is someone who saved starting at 28 until they're 67. So they save for 39 years, or they invest a total of $78,000. Now, you would think the person who invested $78,000 would have more at age 67 than the person who only invested $16,000. But here at a 9% rate of return, and certainly no guarantees for any future performance, but as you see here, example one shows the person who only saved for 8 years but started earlier at the age of 20 and never again invested after the age of 28 had $676,000 of money in their account. On the right-hand side, it showed the 39 years at $2,000 a year for $78,000 invested grew to $595,000, or about $80,000 less than the person who saved starting earlier. So the real lesson here is save as early as you can. It's not about saving big chunks of money. Just save little pieces of money for a long period of time, and you put yourself on a higher probability that you may have that chance to succeed in retirement. So in my view, taking a loan out against a 401k plan is a very bad idea. But there are two scenarios where I believe it's okay. So these are the only two reasons that I believe you should be taking out a loan. The first is if you have a hardship. And a hardship is where something dreadful has happened, you have no other resource or recall, no money anywhere else, and you can take money out of the 401k plan. And if the plan has a hardship withdrawal provision, then of course you take it out. You have no other choice. The second reason is if you are buried in credit card debt. And if you're paying 12 to 15 to 18%, and it's killing you on a month-to-month basis with all that you have to spend on those credit card balances, then maybe you make an agreement with yourself that you stop making contributions, not taking money out, but just stop making contributions to the plan for maybe a year or 2 years. Get out from under the debt, which is burying you, and then you can come back in to the plan. Those are the two good reasons that you could take money out. Now, I know this can be confusing, and I know if you're preparing for retirement, what I want you to do is invest 2 minutes in yourself. Go to our banner, take our quiz. After 2 minutes, we'll score for you which of the 3 retirement planning stages you are in, and I'll send you a free chapter of our book, Don't Outlive Your Money in Retirement, right? And I'll also send you a couple of worksheets to give you some more clarity with regards to how to put yourself on track for a successful retirement. So I'm going to talk to you now about the impact of taking a $5,000 loan. This is an example of a 35-year-old who is going to be taking out a $5,000 loan from the 401k. We're assuming a 5-year loan period, a 5% interest rate on the loan. And we're assuming here that of the $150 usual contribution to the plan, that this person will be paying back the loan, and that amount will be $44 per period. Now, this addresses the one myth, if you will, that when people say, I'm taking a loan out, but I'm paying it back, I'm paying myself back, that in a sense they are doing that, but also you miss out on the opportunity to have this money work for you. You also have here that the balance of the contribution, the $150, after paying $44 on the loan, will be $106 going towards the regular contribution. You know, the reality is, though, that if you are taking out a loan from your 401k plan, probably means you're under some financial duress. And the studies show that many people, when they do take a loan out, reduce the amount of contribution, sometimes just down to the point where they're only paying back the loan. So as you see on the left-hand side, it's a $5,000 loan. And on the right-hand side, what we're showing is no loan. So what is the impact? In the best case scenario, again, I kept the $150 contribution here, but I think that's going to skew this a bit. This is the most favorable outcome for this individual. And we're assuming a 7% rate of return, obviously no guarantees for any future performance. What is the impact of taking that $5,000 loan out at the age of 65? As you see on the left-hand side, you have a balance of about $607,000, or it cost you a little over $50,000 in retirement savings by taking out a $5,000 loan. Now, it gets even worse, by the way. If you've taken out this loan and you change jobs and you haven't paid back that loan, then that loan can show up as income to you, and you'll have to pay taxes on that income. So it's not a good scenario. For the vast majority of you, taking a 401k loan is just not a good idea. I've been in this retirement planning business for 32 years now, and if there's one question I get more than any other, it's how do I compare to my neighbor, right? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you what the average 401k balance is for those who are at age 65, and really a more important question, which is, why is that important? But before I get there, let's subscribe to my channel and hit the notifications bell so you're alerted to when we post new videos. I get kidded by my friends all the time because my mantra always is enjoy the journey. And I believe you've worked hard for it, retirement, and I want you to enjoy it. But the definition of joy is different for everybody, and everybody leads a little bit different lifestyle. So before we get to the numbers, I want to talk to, if you will, the importance of understanding a little bit about perspective and what goes into enjoying the journey. I really do believe our industry has done a lousy job of informing you how to truly enjoy the journey. The focus has been so much on making sure that you accumulate a big nest egg for retirement, ignoring the fact that everybody has a different set of retirement goals and dreams, a different lifestyle I would lead than my neighbor would lead. And we oftentimes don't take that into account when we benchmark how we're doing against our neighbors. Let me give you a couple of stories. I have one particular client. They have about $300,000 in investment assets. They are very happy in retirement. One of the reasons is that they don't really have a big need or desire to go and do and travel and buy stuff. They just want to be around their family and they're local. He gets a pension, they get Social Security, they don't have to rely on income from their portfolio, and they don't have a big cash flow need on a monthly basis. So they feel very comfortable in their journey now and pursuing the things that are really important to them. Every time I talk to them, I really smile. Now I have another client who has about $3 million of assets. And if you try to gauge the book by its cover, you go, oh, $3 million, they must be doing really well. 300,000, they must not be doing very well. Well, in this particular case, the folks with the $3 million are not truly being fulfilled. And we have conversations all the time about how they're going to fill the time that they have. Because not only is one of the big fears that people have running out of money, but the other big fear is, well, what am I going to do the rest of my life? How do I get rewarded? How do I get fulfilled? And at the $3 million level, this particular couple is really not enjoying this next chapter of life. So remember, a number is just a number, and you have to figure out how important it is to you. So I'm going to give you the average 401k balance for those who are at 65 in just a couple of minutes. But I really want to sort of set the stage and put this in proper perspective, because I come from a planning perspective. And what we have to do is take a look at the totality, the whole picture, right? So there are a number of questions that you have to answer or figure out as you now go into retirement that will help you to understand what your journey is going to be and what your dreams and goals are. So one of the things is, do you live in the Northeast where, cost of living is very high, or do you live in the Southwest where it may not be as high? Do you have kids who live far away and they have the grandkids, right? And you want to go travel, or do you have a desire to travel overseas? Some do, some don't. Some like expensive toys. Some just like to stay home. I actually have one client. He is so fulfilled in retirement, and he does nothing. He lives in Florida, and all he wants to do 24/7 is just sit on the beach. He had a very busy life during this first chapter of his working years, and now that he's in his next chapter of retirement, he just wants it to be very blissful, if you will. He doesn't want to do anything, and for him, that's important. When I give you the number for the average 401k balance, you also have to remember, what other assets do you have? What Social Security do you have? Are you going to go for a part-time job? Are you volunteering? What are some of the other things that you can bring to bear in addition to the 401k asset? For some, that asset may be the only retirement asset they have, and they have to work with that. But for others, they may have other pieces. So when I give you this number, I want you to remember, as you benchmark yourself or compare yourself to your neighbor, everyone is different, and I want you to keep that in mind. I also want you to find out, this is very important, what stage of retirement preparedness are you in? Are you ready for this next chapter of life? And I want you to go to our banner, invest. We're talking about investments, right? Invest 2 minutes in a quiz that I'll score for you which of the 3 stages of retirement preparedness you're in. And I'll also get for you the first chapter of my new book, Don't Outlive Your Money in Retirement, along with a couple of worksheets that will help give you a little bit more clarity in terms of where you are and what you need to do. So let's dive into the numbers. And what's interesting here is that less than half of the people who are eligible to contribute to the 401k retirement plan offered by their employer actually do. And again, this is part of what I believe is a lousy educational job on our industry part. We need to be telling you, making it urgent, compelling you to put that money away and share with you the stories. AARP recently did a study that said a majority of people facing their normal retirement age, call it 65, 66, 67, were deferring their retirement. And the number one reason was they didn't have enough money. So you really need to grasp this. I mean, now that you're looking at it and you're closing in maybe on your 60s, maybe it's a little late to think about this, but we need to be sharing that lesson with our kids and telling them to start saving earlier, right? So I'm going to share with you the numbers, okay? And here's a little bit of terminology, if you will. So the mean is the average of all the numbers. And this can be skewed, okay? You could have people who have, billions of dollars that are going to skew the number higher because it's the average of all the balances. Whereas the median is that person that literally is right in the middle. Exactly, let's call it half of the people have less and half of the people have more. And you get a sense of the difference when I'm going to give you this number. And all this number is driven by a study that was done by Vanguard for 2020. And the data was compiled from 5 million different 401k accounts. Okay? So it's a significant piece of information. And here are your numbers. So the average 401k balance at the age of 65 is $216,720. But the median, the person who's in the middle, okay, half less than, half more than, is $64,548. Wow, what a difference, right? But the reality is that so many of those who may be even contributing to the 401k don't have a lot and cannot necessarily rely upon that asset. What a shame, right? It's been available for so long, and we really needed to do a better job of helping you understand how important it was to put that money away. Now, another interesting statistic was that of all the 401k accounts, the 5 million that were looked at by Vanguard, 1.6 of those had accumulated $1 million or more. Just, right? But what does it all mean? That we need to take a look at what we have. We need to make sure that that number, for some, it may only be 20, 30, 40, 50,000. For some, it could be upwards of $1 million or more. But when you now go to retire, you need to make sure that you're managing it properly so it can provide whatever the lifestyle is that you wish to pursue in retirement so you can truly enjoy the retirement journey. And to learn more about 401ks, take a look at our video on costly 401k mistakes.